My name's Carole Aldred and I live in Bolton up in the northwest, and I've bought a number of postcodes now from MyMag. The first one I bought was BL7, followed by BL2, then BL3, BL8, BL0 and BB3 and BB4. Back in 2005, I had a business, a party plan business, selling candles and candle holders. It was quite a successful business, but we always had like a really quiet period just after Christmas. The majority of the sales were always the 3 months before Christmas, and we decided that we'd start up something else that would fill in the time after Christmas, and also that we could run alongside the other business as well. Initially, we intended just to keep the two businesses running side by side. So I went online, looked for any other business that we could start from home, and up popped MyMag. I had a look at it. I've never done a magazine before, or even thought about doing a magazine before, but my husband actually was looking for something to do as well. He was a draftsman by trade, so he felt he could perhaps get around the artwork side of it, so that sort of helps a little bit. So we started off the first magazine, and I got 75 advertisers for the first magazine, obviously all cold called at that stage because I hadn't got any contacts with businesses up to that point. And it went so well that we decided, rather than run two totally different businesses, we would sell the other business and run two businesses the same, so start another magazine. We thought it would be easy to do two magazines than two separate businesses, and we had a buyer for the business as well, so we were sort of being approached to buy it anyway. So we decided to sell that business, just run two. And to cut a very long story short, they were really quite successful, and we decided to do a third one. And okay, we'll stop at 3, and then another one came along, we did 4, and here we are now with 10. And we keep saying that's it now, we're not going to do any more, but we'll see how it goes from here. But we found it really quite easy to start another magazine once you get the second one underway. It's quite easy to get the third and the fourth and the fifth. Depends really what you want out of the business, but you do one magazine if that's all you want to do, or you can get into multiple magazines if you want to as well. The time that we started the business 4 years ago, it's almost 5 years ago now, the children were all at school, and we still wanted to work from home, so it could be here for them. And we found that the MyMag was very flexible, that we could work, even if one of the children were ill and they were off school and they needed some care, we could have a day off work and make up in the evening if we wanted to, or just catch up the day after. So it's very flexible for both of us, and it's meant that we can spend time together, we can go out for lunch together when we want to, and see our friends when we want to, be it day, evening or whatever. So it is very flexible, and we don't actually work full-time hours, so it's great, even with 10 magazines. So it's nice to have a family life and be able to see friends and things as well. When we first started with the first magazine, I cold called and got in the magazine 75 advertisers in the first magazine. Now I first went out and I read through all the information that arrived in the pack, which was very good. Thought I'd read it all and thought I'd absorbed it. Went out there and got lots of people interested, but nobody signed up for an advert, so I was a bit nervous, thinking, oh gosh, have I done the right thing? So I went back to the drawing board, reread through the manuals, realised that there were one or two things that I hadn't absorbed, and I then sat down and wrote myself a telephone script. And I just sort of kept looking through the manual to make sure I'd covered every angle and put a little bit of me in there as well. And the following morning, I started with my phone calls, and I was expecting just to get an appointment really, and to go down and see them. And they said, "Oh yes, we'll go in," without me even seeing them. So I thought, this is easy. Let's see if I can do it again. So I rang again, and I got, on average, over a period of 9 days, I got 75 advertisers to agree to win a magazine without seeing any of them face to face. It was all on the telephone. I'm not saying that will happen for everybody, because I can actually sell better on the telephone than I can face to face, which is unusual. Most people are the other way around. So when I go and see somebody, I tend not to get them signed up, so I don't do that. I think it was 75% of the advertisers in the first magazine went in the second. From then, I haven't made a cold call at all, and this is something in the pack. It does explain actually that the magazines do tend to run themselves in terms of the new advertisers that come on board, and that is absolutely true, because I haven't made a cold call now since month 2, and I've been doing this now for almost 5 years. And you will find that you do get lots of advertisers ringing you, which does make the business a lot easier. There is an awful lot of support from head office, and the pack of information that was received I was really impressed with, because it covers every single thing that you might want, right down to the last paperclip even. It tells you everything that you need to buy to set up your system, every piece of information that you need to start out making your first calls. there's also a lot of people like myself that have been quite successful at my mag, who are more than willing to help people. You know, there's a forum there where you can go on there and ask lots of questions. But if to be quite honest with you, you don't need experience. If you've got the will to do it and the determination to see things through, then you'll do it. You don't particularly need any skills. As long as you can speak to people and you've got the right attitude, that's all that matters really, because I haven't done anything like this before. And we really looked at, we looked at magazines and thought, can we do this? Can we produce a magazine? Because it was completely, something I'd never even thought of. And if I hadn't have seen it online, when I put in work from home and my mag popped up, I would never have even dreamed of doing a magazine. It was quite away from my experience levels at the time. The startup costs are really quite low, because I recouped my initial investment within the first 2 months, and after that it was all pure profit. Well worth every penny, absolutely well worth it. So much so I've gone on to buy more and more and more postcodes, because initially, now I can recoup it in a month. It's very easy to do that. It's not like a business, that you can go and buy that might cost 20 grand or 30 grand and it takes you a year or 2 or 5 years to pay back. This is something that just takes a couple of months. So, it's a no-brainer. In the first month, when we started almost 5 years ago, we did spend, I spent 9 full days getting all the adverts in, getting all the advertisers signed up. I then followed through and chased up all the advert details. It was really full-time, I've got to say, for the first month, because we did want a big magazine. We got 52 pages in the first one, so I decided to give it full-time. You don't have to, you can start out with a 28-page magazine if you want to, depends how much time you have. But I put down the amount of profit that I wanted to earn for that first month, and then worked it back. How many adverts would I need to sell, what's the printing price, and so on. So I decided to work full-time that first month. And the first magazine is the hardest, because obviously you're starting from scratch, you're new to it, you're not sure what to do. It is quite a thing to get the first one together. After that it's much easier, and with one magazine it certainly is a part-time job.